Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a sales and marketing coach and LinkedIn lead generation service provider. I work with health, life, and mindset coaches and online service-based business owners to help them get more sales, shift their time to the client-generating activities instead of just the busy work, and overcome that social media overwhelm. Let's get into the show. If you've been working at your coaching business for a while, you might have found out by now that it's not as easy as you thought to get clients. If that is you, I want to invite you to check out my free workshop sharing how to go from crickets to clients, creating a freebie funnel formula. So in the series, I share with you how to make a freebie that people actually want, that they actually opt into, so that you can grow your email list, so that you always have an audience to share your offers with. And you always have an audience where they are being nurtured by you, they're moving through the sales cycle, and you're not stuck every time you have a launch feeling like you have zero eyeballs on your content. So if that has been you, if you've been stuck in that and you know you need a bigger audience, you know you need to nurture your audience, go to haileyrowe.com/live event, all one word, to get the free series and get started.
Hi all, this is Jessica from Hailey's team. What you're about to hear on this episode is a special training Hailey did for the Fusion Summit. If you'd like to see the full video so you can see the slides Hailey is mentioning, go to haileyrowe.com/LinkedIn-lead-gen-steps and watch the YouTube video on the page. Thank you. Enjoy.
Today, we're going to cover how you can attract more clients and profitable partnerships using LinkedIn. So let me give you the agenda and then I will introduce myself and we'll get started. First, we're going to cover today why LinkedIn compared to other platforms. You might be thinking, I thought LinkedIn was just for if you wanted to get a job or work in corporate, not if I'm an entrepreneur. But the truth is, we can definitely use LinkedIn for your business. Also, we're going to cover 5 ways you can use LinkedIn to grow your income and your visibility and how to actually find the kind of people you're looking to connect with. We're going to cover profile and content do's and don'ts if you're confused about how to use the platform properly, how to market on it. And then we're going to go through some sample scripts throughout that convert, meaning actual ways to start conversations in a non-salesy way, not being pushy, because we've all gotten those messages on LinkedIn that seem really pushy and go straight for a sale, but how to actually be direct, because it is a direct platform, but do it in a way that's classy. So before we get into all that, I just want to share who I am. My name's Hailey Rowe. I'm a marketing and sales coach and a strategist, and I also do LinkedIn lead gen services, which is why I am in the summit sharing some of these LinkedIn tips. And my goal is to help online entrepreneurs, coaches, and I also work with a lot of life coaches and wellness practitioners and really help them with simplifying client attraction, getting more time back, and being able to make more income and impact doing what they love. And when it comes to getting more time back, the thing I see a lot of entrepreneurs wasting time on are things like overthinking, things like social media overwhelm, like wanting to be perfect on social media and waiting to get it right before they start, or thinking you have to do things a certain way, like I have to do super stressful launches that are open and closed door enrollments, or else it's not going to work. And my whole mission is to show you there's a path for you. There is an easier way to do things and to do more of what's lowest hanging fruit first and then continue to refine from there. So I have a podcast. It's called Health Coach Nation. It's actually now in the top 1% on Listen Notes. Before I made this presentation, I had top 1.5, but we're actually in top 1%. So I host a podcast. I've worked with thousands of entrepreneurs throughout the years. I started in 2017 with my own business. Before that, I worked in business development and marketing for startups. And it's been a very fun journey. But I'm just sharing that with you so you know, I didn't start yesterday and that I've seen a lot of things work and a lot of things not work. And I'm going to be sharing with you what has worked in today's talk. And if you do want to get my free gift to go with this presentation, it's going to dive deeper on one of the parts of the presentation, which is my 4 steps of client attraction. So if you're really curious how you can market on any social media platform and use the timeless principles of marketing, the 4 steps of client attraction will show you that. It'll give you a playbook you can use that gives you implementable steps to get your next sales. And you can get it at haileyrowe.com/client-attraction. All right, so let's talk about first, why does LinkedIn even work? Why would we want to use LinkedIn when we're an entrepreneur? The first reason is that people on LinkedIn have more purchasing power on average compared to other social media platforms. So the average income level for someone on LinkedIn is 75K or more, and surprisingly, it's actually less on Instagram and Facebook. Also, LinkedIn connects you with the right kind of partners because it's very much a searchable platform, and I'll show you that in a minute. But according to Kinsta, 80% of B2B social media leads are generated on LinkedIn. And what that means is business to business. So if you're a website designer and you work with accountants, great platform for you. But if you're listening to this and you're like, I work with moms, I don't work with business owners, that's okay too. There's a way to use LinkedIn to connect with partners who work with moms as well to grow your audience. And some of the women you connect with may be moms too. So it is still doable. It's just that you can't search the word moms and know who's a mom just by looking at their profile. So we'll talk about that later. But point is, you can find your people on LinkedIn. Also, it's a networking platform. So people expect networking, meeting new people, talking to strangers. It's not one of those platforms where people just go on it for entertainment and that's it. So anything else, they're going to be like, I don't want to answer this person. It is a networking platform. And you don't have to be posting all the time on LinkedIn to be successful. It's something where you're going to be both posting, but building your connections and network on the platform and using it for that reason. One of my clients, Kristen, she was a mindset coach and a leadership coach. And she went from one client to making high ticket sales. And she actually got like a part-time 80K job using LinkedIn as well. Like she was somebody's on staff coach for their company. So goes to show you, she got both one-on-one clients and a job. So it's not just for like if you're trying to find a job. Okay, here are 5 ways you can use LinkedIn. The first way is to find your ideal clients, right? So we'll go through that in a minute. We can also use LinkedIn to form a referral network. So even if you work with moms and you can't just search moms on LinkedIn, you could form a referral network of people who do work with moms, and that can be really positive. You can use it to book podcast opportunities. So if you're trying to get more visibility, or also to get speaking opportunities, and maybe even job ops if you are looking for part-time work. And you can use it to grow your email list, which we'll talk about in some of the examples today. So here's how to find the right leads and partners on LinkedIn. The first way or option that you have 5 options. So here's the good news. You don't even have to use all the options I'm going to give you. You just have to pick a couple. So the first option is a tool that LinkedIn offers called Sales Navigator, which is free for the first month. They do a free trial. And then after that, it does cost money, but it's really worth it because it allows you to have better quality targeting, to put more search filters in, and it lets you send up to 200 connection requests per week. So if you want to really max out the volume on LinkedIn, it's a good tool for you. I'm not going to show examples of Sales Navigator just in this presentation because the other ones I'm going to share are free completely. And it would be a better place to start if you're brand new to using LinkedIn. But if you are curious about LinkedIn or you want someone to set it up for you or that kind of thing, feel free to reach out. But that's one of your options. The other option is job title search. So there's a search bar on LinkedIn that you can go to and search podcast host, or if you're looking to collaborate with other health professionals, you can put in acupuncturist or chiropractor. Like let's say you're a health coach and you want to form referral partners. You can search certain job titles that would allow you to do that. LinkedIn groups, that's another option where you can see the members of the group and you all have a collective interest or theme. So that can be an easy way to filter the right people. So if you were looking to connect with other entrepreneurs, you could join entrepreneur groups. If you're looking to connect with other people interested in travel, because you're a travel blogger, there's actually a couple travel groups on LinkedIn. I was surprised to see things like that. So the other option is company employee list. So let's say you were looking to get speaking opportunities or you wanted to connect with certain types of professionals. You can search companies and then go to the employees list of that company. And I'll show you a visual in a second. And that will get you in front of the kind of people you're looking to connect with. And then the last option would be to look up posts that you think your ideal client or ideal partners would also be following and commenting on. And you can find people that way of who you're looking for. So, for example, if you're in the personal development space, and you think your people follow Brene Brown and she does something different than you, she's not the exact same job title as you, her people might be people you want to connect with as either collaboration partners or potential clients or things like that. So now let's go through some visual examples of how you use these platforms or these things. So the first thing is job title. So as I said, you could search in the search bar a certain job title or a certain town or whatever you're looking for, and LinkedIn will give you people under the people tab to connect with that have that in their profile. So again, if I was like a travel blogger or consultant or whatever, I might put in travel lifestyle. And as you can see, these people come up who have that in their profile, who may be good people for me to connect with. Another example would be the LinkedIn group. So again, sticking with the travel lifestyle example, I could put that in and then I could go to the groups tab on LinkedIn. So you see how I clicked groups in the picture, and now groups that come up have the word travel in them, and I could join those groups, and those might be good ones for me to find people who might be interested in travel, might have a love for that. And once you're in a group, I just took a picture of this because I wanted to show you that once you get accepted into a group, you can go to the members list, and that will show you people where they may have something in common with you, or they have the interest of travel, again, with our example, or whatever, and you can connect with people from there. So for example, I just took a picture of an entrepreneur group I'm in, but let's say me as a business coach, I want to connect with other people who work with business owners because we could do collabs. So for example, I see somebody who is a coach and speaker, and she might be a good collab partner for me. Or if I work with coaches, she might be a good potential client. So I could connect with her by going to her profile and clicking connect. And instead of me having to search the search bar with the word coach, I just found her in this group because I went to the members list. And so it was a little easier, right? I didn't have to, I might find more coaches in this group because a lot of coaches join these groups, for example. So that's an example of the LinkedIn group. If you wanted to go to a company page and look at the employees list because you want to speak somewhere or someone at that company you want to get in touch with, or you think someone at a certain company would be a good collab partner for you or whatever, you could search a company name. I just put Amazon. Obviously, most of you won't be using that, but let's just use it as an example. And you see where it's blue here and it shows employees. You can click on that and it will show you here are all the employees that say they work here. And if you wanted to speak somewhere, you could find the HR director, or you could find the person who manages events or whatever at that company and connect with them directly. So that would be like if you're trying to speak somewhere. But if you also just want to work with certain professionals, certain account managers, and that's your niche or something like that, or people in high stress jobs, you can look at the high stress job titles and you could find them at different companies. Now, here are the 4 steps we need to use once we find these people. So you're going to use one of those methods we just talked about to find your ideal either potential collab partners, meaning people who you could do social media shout outs with. You could be in bundles or summits together. You could share each other's freebies with each other's audiences. You could be referral partners, things like that. So you want to either find your potential collab partners or you want to find your ideal clients using LinkedIn. But once we do that, using one of the methods we talked about, we have to actually build a relationship. So this is where we use the 4 steps of client attraction. And the 4 steps are to connect with our ideal clients or partners. So we do that by sending a connection request on LinkedIn. That's very normal to do. It's basically the equivalence of like following someone on social media or sending a friend request to somebody. So we do that on LinkedIn, but keep in mind it's a networking platform, so it's more normal to do it there than other platforms. So you send a connection request, then we engage. So we want to build a meaningful relationship. We want to start a conversation. Then in our conversation, we can either make the ask about the collaboration, like, are you open to exploring collaborating? Or we can build know, like, and trust and guide somebody to our freebie or our free content or see how we can help, right? Provide a quick win or solution up front for our audience to build that know, like, and trust. And then we transition to the close, which is either if you are somebody who sells a service where you have a call with someone or you have a webinar or whatever, if they join your email list or you guys get to that point where it makes sense to say, hey, I don't know if you're looking to do XYZ, but based on our conversation, based on the fact that you really liked my lead magnet, would it make sense to explore working together? Something like that. So either we lead to our sales process or invite to our sales process as an invitation, not a pushy thing, not like, hey, you need to sign up for my program. Here's all the details. I'm going to word vomit this long sales message. Or for the collabs, we invite to the collab call or we take the next steps to plan our collaboration. So these are big picture, the 4 steps you're going to move through in marketing. And on LinkedIn, it follows these same steps. You're going to connect, you're going to engage, you make a pre-offer, and then you close or sell. Okay, so let's see this in action with real life messages I've gotten on LinkedIn or that I've sent on LinkedIn. So this is a message I got from somebody on LinkedIn who wanted to build a relationship, wanted to collaborate. So they said, hey, Hailey, I hope you're well. I came across your profile. I saw we had a few mutual connections. I enjoy connecting with like-minded business owners, and I thought I would reach out to connect. I look forward to chatting further. So what's good about this message is this person had something in common with me, and they stated what that was. So they said, we have a few mutual connections. But if you don't have any mutual connections with someone, you could still say, hey, I noticed we're both working with moms in different ways. I would love to connect. Or, hey, I noticed we're both in the Chicago area. I would love to connect. Or, hey, I noticed we both have a passion for helping people with blah, blah, blah. I would love to connect. So find that common ground. Then he said, I enjoy connecting with like-minded business owners, thought I would reach out and look forward to chatting further. Now, what I would have done slightly differently is I would have said, I enjoy connecting with like-minded business owners. Would you be open to connecting or would you be open to exploring collaboration? Because I like to end it with a question so we can deepen the next step in the relationship. Now, here's an example of what I said back. So I went to his profile, and this is something you guys can do when you connect with new people is check out their profile and see what kind of fun things can we do together? Like if it's a collab partner, do they have a podcast? Do they are they super active on Instagram? Maybe you guys could do an Instagram live swap, something like that. So check out their profile. I saw he had a podcast. I have a podcast. So I said, hey, I see you're a fellow podcaster. Maybe we could explore podcasting together. And he said, yes. We did an interview swap. It was super fun. And it took 3 steps. These were our conversations literally in LinkedIn. Another example, let's say you're connecting with potential clients. So what I like to do is send a connection message that's just very simple, just a very, very short, and saying why I'm connecting. Always fun to meet others in the industry or the field or whatever. And they said, thank you for reaching out. Then I said a question. What are you up to these days? Or what are you working on these days? And notice I'm not diving into, hey, I think you should sign up for my coaching program. No, I'm just trying to see what could this person potentially find useful? What resources could they find useful? Who can I connect them with? How can I just be a useful networker and connector? All right, so this person replied and they shared that what they were working on. And with that message, I was able to understand that, they might find content useful about XYZ and so on and so forth. And so I was able to then say, that thank you for sharing that. It's exciting to see that you just finished your graduate, your certification program or whatever, and make not like a pitch, but more like a free resource or see if there's room for you to add value anywhere. So that's where you want to ask a question like, not sure if you're looking to expand in your health coaching position because she said she just accepted a health coaching position, but I have a free guide about blah, blah, blah that could maybe help. Would it make sense to share it? Or I'll be sure to make future posts if possible about that topic since it looks like that's a focus for you right now. I'd love to make my content more useful on LinkedIn. So obviously there's no like rules like, oh, you need to say this next, but it's kind of like looking for how can I be helpful? How can I get to know this person? How can I see what I can do to be helpful to them? Either connecting them with someone, providing a resource, making content that would be useful to them, things like that. So again, relationship building example, you just share why you're connecting, and then you maybe ask a question. So with this person here, I asked the question again about what are they focusing on these days or something like that. And they said they're looking for speaking opportunities. If you know of any good opportunities that may be a fit, please send them my way. So naturally, of course, I know speaking opportunities. So I shared, hey, you should look into speaking on this podcast. And I also had a speaker pitch template, which is one of my lead magnets. And I said, I also have a pitch template if you want to pitch to more speaking opportunities. Would it make sense to send it over? And I did, and it was helpful to her. So that's kind of how we build relationships. Use your emotional intelligence. If someone's giving you a vibe where they're very standoffish, they're giving you a one-word response, okay, fine. But if someone's sharing with you and you can provide value in some way, or they ask, like this person said, if you know of speaking things, resources or opportunities, tell me. And I did, right? So that's kind of how you build a relationship. Connect, engage, pre-offer, and sell. Now let's talk about profiles. If you have a LinkedIn profile and you haven't touched it in years or you need to make one, there's going to be different sections on your profile. The first is you're going to have your picture at the top, and then you're going to have what we call like a mini bio or a headline bio, which is a short bio that has a limited number of characters you can put in. And in that section, you're going to have to share the main benefits of working with you and any credibility boosters. So for example, if you go to my profile, it's just Hailey Rowe, and you'll see it says, what I help with, which is like book your next clients or something. It was something along those lines. Then it has, that I'm a podcast host because I do want people to know that. I do think it helps establish credibility. And then I have what I do, like marketing and sales coach and strategist, etc. So the mini bio is that short section where you put the main things you want people to know about the benefits of working with you and anything that boosts your credibility. Then in your upper section of your profile, there's also a spot where you could put a link. And in that section, what I would suggest is you put your best lead magnet to grow your email list or where you want to send the most traffic to. So if that is your website, cool, you could put that in there. And then your photo needs to be not dark, not non-existent, not a picture of a cartoon cat. It needs to be you smiling at the camera, professional. And then we have your about section. So this is where you're going to share your story, the benefits of your service, and the benefits. If you're using LinkedIn for forming collab partnerships, you may also want to share what are the benefits of partnering with you. Why would people want to do that? So the about section is your story, benefits of the service you provide. You can list those as bullet points, benefits of partnering with you. And then you have a featured section you can add to your profile. Now this one, you'll have to actually add it to your profile because it's not there originally. So when you go into LinkedIn and you go to your profile, there will be a little button that says like add a profile section, and you'll click on it and then you'll click featured. And the featured section is where you're going to want to put your best work. So this is like, your storefront. This is like what people see as the first posts on your LinkedIn profile when they check out your LinkedIn profile. It's kind of like how on Instagram you can pin posts to the top of your profile, and those are the first ones people see. Similar on LinkedIn, they have a featured section. So that's where you're going to want to put maybe a testimonial, maybe your story, maybe your lead magnet announcement post, maybe something about your service. And those could be your main things. Or it could be like if you were featured in Forbes or something really crazy, amazing, you could put that in there. So featured is your best work, what you want people to see right away. And then recommendations, that's another section you're going to want to add to your profile, because that is where past clients or past people who you were on their podcast or whatever could leave you a recommendation and say, so and so was a great podcast guest, highly recommend. Or your client could say, so and so helped me do blah, blah, blah. It was great working with them. So you'll have to go to add a profile section, click recommendations, and you will want that on there because it gives you social proof. Now, here are some content do's and don'ts. When you've set up your profile, it's looking good, and now you're ready to start posting because your network is going to see your posts. The people who accept your connection requests are going to start seeing your posts. We need to make sure that your posts are sometimes long. So sometimes the super short posts on LinkedIn are not the best ones. The ones that are 8 lines or more, like spread out, spaced out, thin lines, 8 lines or more, that's good because if people click see more on your post, that tells the algorithm, oh, people are digging this post. People are actually reading it. People are clicking see more. So do some posts that are 8 lines or more. You can repurpose your captions on Instagram or your blogs into shorter posts. So don't worry about reinventing the wheel. You could repurpose. And also another do is to establish yourself as a thought leader on LinkedIn. So meaning if you have an opinion about something in your industry, or you want to share an article that you saw and share your take on it, you could do that. That's a great thing to do on LinkedIn. But the biggest thing is on LinkedIn, LinkedIn likes when people have conversations on your post. So we want to get the comment section going. So one thing you can do at the end of your posts on LinkedIn is always add an engagement question, like, let me know your thoughts about this new, book that I just shared, things that I liked about, or which tip did I miss from these 3 tips to blah, 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 right? So ask an engagement question at the bottom of your post so that people do want to comment on it. Also, look at insights and what's working for other people in your field. So LinkedIn has insights on your post that you can actually look at and see how many impressions or how many people looked at this post. So you can start to notice trends about what you're doing that is working and what you're doing that's not working. And then you also can look at other people in your field and look at what posts are getting the most comments and engagements and likes for them. The other thing you could do is make sure that you are commenting on complimentary business owners' posts so that more people are seeing your thought leadership on other people's posts and clicking on your profile. Do this with people who complement what you do, not with people who do the exact same service as you. So for example, I'm a business coach. I might go to a web designer's page and comment on their posts. Why? Because we both work with entrepreneurs. We don't do the same service and we complement each other. And so that can be a way to, get more visibility. Another thing you can do is a personal and business share that brings value. So you don't have to always just be all business on LinkedIn. I know a lot of people think that, but sometimes you can put a personal post. Like one of my friends who has the most viral LinkedIn posts that millions of people have seen is he shared his adoption of his daughter and the story of that. It has nothing to do with his business, but it's proof that you can still be personal and share your story or share things that have a message or something, that builds value in addition to just all business all the time. People get really scared on LinkedIn and they think they have to be overly stiff. And that brings me to my content don'ts, which is don't think you need to be overly stiff. You have to be a robot. LinkedIn is so formal. You can't share anything personal. You definitely can on LinkedIn. But what you don't want to do is like post dancing Instagram reels. It's not the place for that. It's still sharing value. It's still sharing personal things. It's just not like dancing, for example. in an Instagram reel. The other thing is don't miss adding calls to engage with you on your posts. So do put a question at the bottom of your posts. Don't post long, chunky paragraphs. Like we said, space out your lines so they're really easy to read, really easy to follow. And don't use engagement pods. So a lot of people on LinkedIn will connect with other buddies on LinkedIn and say, let's all comment on each other's posts every time we post so that the algorithm sees our posts and wants to share it to more people, but it doesn't work like that. LinkedIn will catch on that the same people are commenting on every one of your posts, and it doesn't necessarily like that. So have real comments on your posts, not people you just formed a engagement pod with. So last thing with content, if you're getting stuck on where to start, here are some prompts you can take a screenshot of. You could address an industry myth and what's actually true. You could share a meme or something funny about the struggle or the transformation that you provide and how you get what they're going through. You can share what you wish you knew before you started on whatever it is that you teach now. You can elaborate on news or trends within your field and share, how they can make it actionable. You can share your opinion on a controversial industry topic. And if you're curious about, what else to post or you need help with that, always feel free to reach out. But I can't wait to see you guys starting to share on LinkedIn. All right, so let's recap your roadmap. You're going to decide, are you going to use LinkedIn for collaborations or finding potential clients? Once you decide that, you could do a split of both if you want to. You're going to decide, how am I going to find connections? Am I going to use groups? Am I going to use the search bar? Am I going to, do Sales Navigator, right? Then we're going to see, how are you going to send your intro message? What are you going to say? What's going to be your approach? How are you going to start the combo? Then you're going to make pre-offers when appropriate. So when you're getting into a juicy combo with someone and they say they're really struggling with blah, 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 and you have a freebie about that, you can offer to share it. You could invite to it. And then when it makes sense, if someone's like, yeah, I love that, that was helpful, and it makes sense to invite them to the next step, which is, do you want to explore working together? We do that. Or they join your email list where naturally you have a funnel that does that and nurtures and does all the things. Or in the collab situation, we ask, do you want to collab? Then we plan the actual collab. So we have a collab chat or we figure out what we're doing for the collab and we do that. So now your next steps are to, number one, review the freebie that I mentioned for this training. You can go to HaileyRowe.com/client-attraction and get the 4 steps to client attraction cheat sheet and playbook. Then we're going to book your free strategy call if you want to connect about your goals, struggles, see if it makes sense to work together in some way. And then you can reach out with any questions on Instagram. I'm at Hailey_Rowe. And my challenge to you is to send out your first connection request this week to anyone. It could be to me. It could be to other speakers at this summit. It could be to people you have mutual connections with. But I want you to make sure that you don't let time fly and then you realize, I never did anything with LinkedIn. I watched this, but I never did anything. So make your first connection request within the next 7 days. And it can be to either potential partners or your ideal clients if you have a certain niche in mind. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. And if it's really helpful for you, I'd really appreciate if you share it and or leave a written podcast review. This tells the podcast sites that our show is useful and it will be promoted to more people that way. Thanks again.